Welcome back to American Agenda. A GOP-backed stimulus plan was rejected in the Senate yesterday, continuing a months-long holdup on financial support to Americans. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell had this to say. Every Senate Democrat just voted against hundreds of billions of dollars of COVID-19 relief. They blocked money for schools, testing, vaccines, unemployment insurance, and the Paycheck Protection Program. The goal is clear: no help for American families before the election. Are Democrats trying to influence the election, or did they really not want that bill to pass? Let's bring in our White House correspondent, Emerald Robinson, with the latest. Emerald, it sounds like there's not going to be a deal.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're hearing. And in fact, White House Economic Advisor Larry Kudlow was out here talking to reporters a little bit earlier today. He didn't sound very hopeful that anything was going to happen on their front. What is most likely to happen, Bob, is that there will be a continuing resolution passed in order to keep the government funded through the election, according to Kudlow, that both sides are in support of a clean continuing resolution bill. But now what this does set up, Bob, is it sets up an opportunity for the president to take further executive action, since it doesn't look like Congress is going to be able to make any kind of agreement. In fact, he did so last month. He took 4 executive actions in order to continue to help Americans who are suffering due to the coronavirus crisis. Now, what might these executive actions include? Well, there's talk that he could do something for the airline industry. They're running out of payroll subsidies as soon as September 30th. There could be more on unemployment insurance. There could also be more expansiveness done to his payroll tax cuts and looking at forgiveness on those. Now, the question is, will there be any more stimulus checks? You know, that wasn't included in the Republican bill, but that's something that this administration does support. But how could the president really do that via executive action? That's not quite clear.
Questionable. I wanted you to take part in our conversation here because we wanted to bring in our A-plus panel for the day also, CEO of Kingsbridge Strategies, Thomas Keogh, and CEO of Annandale Capital, George C. George, do we need a bill anyway? Or is this something where the Democrats really are costing people some support that they need?
Yeah, Bob, thanks for having me on. I would just add that this one's a real head-scratcher for me and shows just how partisan our politics have become. They've always been partisan, but I'm admittedly a conservative Republican, but I try to be as nonpartisan in life as a private sector businessman as I can. Yeah. And I always was taught that when there's a deal to be had and you can't get more than a quarter of a loaf or half a loaf or 2/3 of a loaf, you took whatever you could get. Yeah. So the fact they're not taking very material relief for the American people, which is less than half what they want, just because the Republicans are trying to not have us go broke faster.
Exactly. I guess a lot of people look at that, Emerald, and wonder, okay, you're not going to get everything you want, Democrats, but here's a bill. This would pass.
I think it's very unpatriotic. I really do, and I'm trying to be objective by that. I just don't think it's good for the country, and I think it's really bad look for the Democrats.
Yeah, Emerald.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And also, I mean, there's a lot of moderate Democrats who are feeling exactly that way on the Hill. They want to get something passed to help their constituents, especially before they go back home before November. And Nancy Pelosi is just holding out. In fact, in a call with her caucus this week, she told them, you know, we can't give in too early. We can't go weak because we can still get what we want, which is a much, much larger bill that includes a lot of items that aren't necessarily just getting aid to the American people.
Right. George? Or I should say, Thomas, what do you think about this? Because it seems like there is a deal to be had there somewhere.
You're not going to get anything till Election Day now.
Yeah.
Pelosi and Schumer have so dug themselves in. And look, the whole House of Representatives is up for re-election right now. So she wants to hold her majority.
But, Thomas, don't you think they'd want to show something, come home with something?
Bob, I agree with you, but look, she's got an ironclad grasp on the majority there. She's also pandering to the AOC nuts on that wing. Yes, you would think, and I agree with the other guests, you know, rationale would say, look, let's make a deal. Everyone needs it, regardless of party, political persuasion, et cetera. But then I don't see anything happening till after Election Day.
Yeah, and what I wonder, Emerald, is what's the incentive to do one after Election Day? Because then they get almost no benefit out of it. I hate to be that cold about it.
Well, look, then I think, you know,
that is true.
People got in narrowly.
No.
But they kept the seats. They've got 2 per unit.
Yeah, go ahead, Emerald.
Well, I would just say that I think that I believe it was Thomas was right that there is no Pelosi really wants to hold out through the election here, but she can't ultimately probably hold out forever. Now, in some ways, this might play well for President Trump because he's saying, look, I'm trying to get the help to the American people. Democrats won't do it. We'll continue to hear him say that on the campaign trail. And especially if he does more executive actions that do benefit the American people, this could backfire on Pelosi.
Yeah, what I wonder, George, though, does our economy need it? Or would Republicans say, you got to take off the training wheels?
I don't think the economy needs it, but I think there's millions and millions of desperate individual Americans who do need it. So I would be for the smaller relief package that the Republicans have put out there. And I predicted about a month and a half ago they wouldn't cut a deal because the partisanship has just gotten so nasty. And I think it's very revealing that Pelosi and Schumer and AOC and all their gang would block such an obvious deal to take. It just shows how dark these people are in the way they behave and how they make decisions.
I know, Thomas, you know what bothers me about it?
Much attention.
Yeah, Thomas, what bothers me is that I would generally say don't spend money we don't have, except the government has decided a lot of people were going to be put out of business, at least temporarily. So those people at least should be, if not made whole, given a chance.
But wait till the tax bill and all this comes due. The only one talking about it is Andrew Cuomo. He's whining because it doesn't look like he's going to get what he wants. But wait till the tax bill comes due from every state, every city, every county in America that has just spent crazy over the look. Every government employee's been getting a paycheck. Private industry got laid off. They needed payroll protection for private industry.
Right.
But every village, county, state in the United States, those people are all still getting their benefits and their pay.
Right.
They haven't lost a nickel. So wait till that tax bill comes due.
Oh.
Sales tax revenue's down. People are not going to be able to pay property taxes. Property values are going down. It's going to be a bloodletting.
That could be, yeah. There's a lot to come with this. Emerald Robinson, Thomas Keogh, and George C., thank you so much. Coming back, folks, we'll have more of American Agenda after this.